Ready? Alright. Hey, Dr. Spiller, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in the poultry industry.
Currently, I teach in the animal science department at Cal Poly, and I've been here since 1989. Prior to that, I worked in the commercial egg business, mostly in the Modesto area, and I've been working with egg production birds since I was 12, so that puts it in excess of 50 years.
So some serious experience right there in the egg industry. Wow. And then how long have you been in charge of the hens on campus?
So I've been working with the laying hens here at Cal Poly since 1989.
Wow, okay, that's a long time. So as you're probably well aware, in 2008, the Humane Society of the United States, aided by the Farm Sanctuary and other groups, passed a measure for Proposition 2. It's also known as the Prevention of Farm Animal Cruelty Act on the California ballot. The proposition demands hens, veal calves, and pregnant pigs to have enough space to lie down, stand up, fully extend their limbs without touching the enclosure or another animal. Do you believe allowing chickens to have room to move around in the cage like this is actually more humane and safe than keeping them in the crates they're currently kept in?
Well, in terms of, through the years, farmers have consistently done their own research on cage space, how much space to allow a bird. And of course, we have measured the results on this basically due to productivity. And we pretty much found out if a chicken isn't provided all its needs, it doesn't lay eggs.
Okay.
And so the kind of the measure of do they lay eggs or don't they lay eggs is really important. And so the space that Proposition 2 is requesting is probably more than the animal really needs.
Yeah.
And what it's going to do to the cost of the production of eggs, there's going to be a number of costs that are going to go up substantially. First of all, you're going to have to own more land. You're going to have to build more buildings. You're going to have to pay more property tax on the land and buildings that you purchased. Because the birds get more space, then they tend to be overly active, burn up calories, and eat more feed. So your feed cost is going to go up. The labor cost on all the buildings is going to go up because it takes a certain amount of labor just to cover, X amount of square feet of chicken houses. So if you put substantially less birds in there, that your cost, you're going to have hire more people because you have more buildings. And then the same thing is going to be true of the lights. The lights overhead, where maybe in the past the lights over the head in your building supplied light for 60,000 birds. Now it's going to supply light for 23,000 birds.
Yeah.
So it's, those costs are going to all treble.
Less efficient a little bit.
So you tremendous efficiency, and we have not been able to show any measurements that the birds are happier with more space.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Also, according to the United States Animal Health Association, hens housed in cage-free and free-range housing systems have a higher risk for avian influenza and other diseases, such as like salmonella and such. Do you agree with the increased risk of disease for the birds kept in outdoors or cage-free rather than cages?
Yes, there's really a difference between cage-free and free-range, and those often are confused.
Yeah.
Cage-free, basically the birds they're in confinement. Rather than being in a cage, they're going to be on the floor. On the floor, they have contact with the feces from all of their neighbor chickens. And kind of a little bad habit the chickens have, they eat each other's feces. And so, tremendous opportunity for the passage of disease from one bird to another.
Wow.
And even now, I consult for a company in California where we have nearly 700,000 cage-free birds. And I can tell you for a fact, it's a lot harder to maintain production rates with birds that are on the floor and that are exposed to feces.
Wow. Farmers, including the California Poultry Federation, egg farmers, and a number of California farm bureaus think that the increased cage size isn't the answer. And you already touched on the production cost increase. I have a little example for you here. A woman named Jill Jensen is a California egg farmer who produces over 100,000 dozen eggs each day. and her birds are kept in a climate-controlled barn at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. She and many other egg farmers in California believe that Prop 2 will triple her production costs. Along with the increase in production costs, Jill also believes that Prop 2 does not change how the eggs are produced, but it's going to change where they're produced. She believes that when this law takes effect, it will almost completely eliminate the California egg industry and run it out of business. The costs to comply are just going to be unobtainable for the California farmer. Do you agree with Jill's statement about the egg industry, and what do you think of this implementation?
I totally agree with her statement. Like right now, given the opportunity for our consumers here in the state of California, they can already have cage-free and free-range eggs. They can have exactly what they think they voted for in November of 2008. And they don't choose to buy those eggs. So what's going to happen, voters vote to make changes in how birds are cared for, yet when it comes time to pay the premium price for the eggs that are produced by those modified facilities, they won't pay. These laws do not apply to eggs produced in Mexico or in other states. For example, Iowa. Iowa is very much a surplus state, and we already have a situation now that probably 25% of all the eggs consumed in the state of California are produced in Iowa.
Wow, it doesn't look any good.
And that's not going to change. It's going to get worse. So we're going to have, they will simply build more chicken houses to supply the California's demand, because they can produce eggs so much cheaper.
Prop 2 is California specific.
It's California specific.
Yeah, so that's so in conclusion, could you say one statement to the people in charge of passing Proposition 2? What would you say to them, or what would you want them to do differently?
Well, first of all, I think that decisions on how animals are cared for, if there are going to be decisions made, they really ought to be made by a blue ribbon committee of individuals that are a combination of producers, a combination of, say, perhaps researchers, college faculty, other types of experts that come together and come up with a program that works well for everybody.
Yeah.
In fact, we already have that in place. We have a program which is called the United Egg Producers, and they have their program is it's called UEP, for United Egg Producers Certified. And if you put that on your egg cartons or your boxes that you transport the egg cartons in, if you put UEP certified, you have to follow all of the standards of that program. And that includes amount of space per bird, it includes temperatures, it includes handling when you're putting birds in the cages, when you're taking birds out of the cages. And this is a program that came together with a blue ribbon panel of people who came up with what they thought was a fair and equitable program, both to the producer and to the chicken. In fact, one thing that's kind of coincidental, the gentleman that chaired that committee for the United Egg Producers is now Cal Poly's president.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes. Yes. So, Dr. Armstrong, our Cal Poly president, was Dean of Agriculture at Michigan State University, and he was asked to chair the Blue Ribbon Committee for the United Egg Producers to come up with their certification program.
Oh, wow.
So he's well in tune to that, what the results were of that Blue Ribbon pact.
Do you think
those are the people that should be making the decisions, not voters who are not knowledgeable.
Who are not educated on the subject?
They're not fully educated.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.